Let's get into it today. We'll be talking about XRP, give you guys some insights on why the market is adjusting right now. What does it mean for the future? My name is Paul Bear. Welcome back in the Tech Path. Let's get into it. I do want to thank our sponsor, and that is Uphold. If you want to hold XRP, guess where you can do it? You can do it over on Uphold. All you have to do is visit uphold.com. Get in there. They're actually paying some yield on both RLUSD as well as your US dollar balance. So check it all out. Crypto better. They give you an edge. There's a lot of cool features too within Uphold that you want to get into, and some of which actually give you early access to tokens. So go over and check it out. It's very simple to join. Use our link down below. It's going to get you started on your Uphold plan. All right, let's go over to a couple of the topics here. Here's Jack the Rippler. XRP is moving against the market. If you think about XRP right now, with the fact that we've seen so much crypto FUD over the last 3 days, the fact that XRP is somewhat sideways is phenomenal, and it's holding right now just below USDT, which is around 137 bill. XRP holding around 136 right now. So pretty phenomenal for the token in general. I want to go to a clip real quick. This will give you a little bit more of an inside understanding on where TradFi is explaining Ripple and the FUD. Take a look.
Another one you like is Ripple. You said it is the coin to be looking at right now.
Absolutely.
Why?
Okay, so Ripple actually was the second largest coin prior to the SEC's investigation of them. They did this really weird lawsuit against them, and basically the Ripple's going to be the track that everything's going to be running on in the future. So they created their own stable coin right now.
Okay.
And Bank of America, like I said, they were doing 100% of their internal transactions. They've got 83 different patents on it, and there's some incredible stuff that's going to be coming out.
All right, so that's a big statement coming in from an analyst right now over there on the broadcast media. And again, I think some of this is still starting to sink into where Ripple will go in terms of the potential for what it could be, both XRP, but also just a lot of the connection of the dots right now. I think with the current administration, Ripple just put out, I think, a big hiring statement. They're trying to get a policy director going. There's a lot happening right now from a political standpoint between Ripple and the U.S. government. So just keep a close eye. Let's take a look at the chart real quick. And you can kind of see right here, everything else, not a good look, but Ripple somewhat sideways, actually trending up right now from where it had dipped to, which was around $1.99. And we had talked about this toward the end of the year as a close over the 198 mark, which was the mark we were looking at. It may never return there again. This one is a beast that continues to perform. So if you compare that to even one of my favorites, look at this cut right here on Avalanche. I mean, this is a nice little buy right now. Go from the top of where Avalanche was just here recently down to where it's holding negative 21% right there. And I don't know, this is a good buy to me. I would look at $36 for an Avalanche token right now. It is trending down. Key things with Avalanche, not an Avalanche video today to really talk about where they're going. We probably should do an update on Avalanche, but a lot of interesting things happening over there. We're anticipating some big news coming up on Avalanche as well. All right, let's go over to this tweet right here. U.S. government cleared to sell about 70,000 Bitcoins. This will be worth about $6.5 billion. This was all seized from Silk Road. Now, there's a little bit of backstory to this, but basically, you know, there are some things that the U.S. government has to do. Update on this is Marty Party talking about this on the DOJ selling. Ruling was made December 30th, so this is a little bit older. This is appears to be a little bit more FUD in the market right now. Other things, you look at Adam Cochran, and since dummies seem to think this political, quick reminder, DOJ is required to sell any cleared assets to cash and transfer that cash to Treasury once sold. It's something that is constant, ongoing in the process of how this is done in terms of holding assets like that. Other things that are happening out here, Lark Davis hits on this very same thing. U.S. government selling 6.5 bill, but really in reality, it's only 0.35% of Bitcoin's current market cap. So it's a very small amount. I think the impact on Bitcoin is really driven more from the ETF, and I think that's the one that everybody has to look at. The other thing you have to compare is the fear and greed index right now. When it comes to the S&P is pretty heavy right now at 32. But when you look over at crypto, not so much. The greed is still on right now on it. Are we at a point where maybe there's a little bit of, we've been through it so many times, there's a little bit of desensitization of where the market currently is. I know for me, when I look at portfolios, it feels that way, as I'm just desensitized so much to these crashes that I look at it and say there's too many positive things that are still flowing into the opportunity for crypto in general. Spot Bitcoin ETF is always one to track. And there's some interesting things here, and whether you believe this chart or not, but if you look at these reversals all the way back into March of last year, and then these reversal ups on inflows, it pretty much has been the case almost every time. A handful of that have not been, but usually it's a couple of days on these outflows and then these blow ups. Another couple of days outflows, another blow up. Couple of days, another blow up. And then with exception of this little range right here, which was back in December, which is still, I think those are one of the ones that are a little bit different because of the tax harvesting, things like that. And then here we are again, another big evacuation on the ETF. Are we in for a reversal on Bitcoin with another blow up and possibly another big all-time high in terms of inflows? The market is definitely being played on a cycle for sure. Other things I want to hit too is institutional Bitcoin accumulation now continues despite the low retail demand. I think that's going to change quite a bit here, but large investors now accumulating over 34,000 Bitcoins, valued at about 3.2 bill. And remember, this is despite a 15% drop after reaching the all-time high. Now, I want to kind of step back from that because there's a couple of points you have to consider here of why is Bitcoin still the leverage against the dollar? And that it simply is going to be, and we've heard us talk about this a little bit over the last 3-4 months, is that inflation is not going away. It's very possible we could see an acceleration of inflation. I know that's a bad thing, but it is a good thing for crypto. I believe it's a good thing for Bitcoin. That will mean a good thing for altcoins, things of that nature, just because it will be a flight to safety versus the dollar if we continue to deflate the dollar. So there's a lot of playing here that a lot of people are looking at. The other thing that I still like is the fact that we continue to see Wall Street accepting what's happening in the crypto industry. And this, of course, is the crypto wallet, first crypto wallet to go out on the New York Stock Exchange, which is Exodus. But right out there, that's the fact that it's becoming mainstream, that we're seeing more and more of this start to hit Wall Street. So that in itself, again, along with regulation, along with a very crypto-friendly bureaucracy now from the SEC and now soon to be the CFTC, all good stuff going forward. Here we go. History repeats itself. January Bitcoin dump. You've seen it already. Election years always start with a massive correction. 2017, we saw a negative 35. 2021, a negative 36. 2025, so far, 7%. That's where we are right now. But you can see these little ranges. Let me zoom in on these for you guys. Right there is a good example of the last election. And then the adjustment we saw in January. Then you go over here, same kind of scenario, the adjustment we saw, and then boom, is that the same kind of scenario that we're painting out for this January? All of that could be playing out in real time. Trump inauguration no longer is a sell the news. If that is in fact the case, it's no longer a sell the news event, but instead a buy the dip event. So are we leaning into a Trump inauguration where Bitcoin and crypto could be basically coming in underperforming, and then after January 20th, we see a massive movement going forward? Because remember, as soon as January 20th hits, we are actually going to start to see policy. And we will start to see what policies are implemented. One that I'm watching right now is how the TikTok situation folds out, how the stablecoin situation folds out. All of these are going to be accelerated very quickly. And do we get a lot of lawsuits dropped immediately? All of that could happen starting January 21, literally first day in office. So be watching all of that stuff. This is another one right here. This is the perfect example of CFTC trying to get one last dunk in on the industry. CFTC issues a subpoena to Coinbase over the Polymarket investigation. I won't say much about where that we think that might be coming, but I think there's some nefarious operators out there. But the move is amid an ongoing regulatory scrutiny of Polymarket, which has been restricted for U.S. residents, mainly because, you remember, there is a regulated betting market right out there right now. It's called Kalshi. Just throw that name out there for a second. And then the possibility of sharing user data with the CFTC has raised concerns about the privacy and regulatory implication of its customers. How do they get that? How do they know that? Where's that coming from? It looks to me like it's just a little bit too convenient, a convenient truth, as they say. Other things to look at right here, crypto industry awaits Trump's CFTC chair pick. The one that we're watching is this guy right here. His name is Brian Kentez, Kentez. And this guy is the global head of policy over at A16Z. You guys know who that is, one of the biggest VCs out there in the blockchain space. And he's got ex-CFTC commissioner positions available. So this is the guy, I think, that is the one that walks in on the CFTC, takes over, and this will be another pro position on crypto in one of the biggest areas of regulatory finance that's out there, and that is, of course, the the CFTC when it comes to commodities and Bitcoin being a commodity. So a big one. I want to go to another clip. This is one that we'll wrap it up. We'll take a look at a couple of charts here before we get out of here. But I want to go with one, and this, of course, is Gary Gensler. Just cannot stop. It's just too juicy. Take a look.
You came into this job, you gave a big speech in which you analogized the crypto world to the Wild West. I guess that makes you the sheriff. So is it less of a Wild West than it was as you leave this office?
The public knows a lot about Bitcoin, which is, depending upon its market value on any given day, is 2/3 to 80% of the market value of crypto. And then there's everything else, or some people say Bitcoin and Ethereum and everything else. These 10 or 15,000 projects, they're raising money from the public, and the public's investing, or the public's investing hoping for a better future. I've been around finance for over 4 decades, and everything in the markets trade on a mixture of fundamentals and sentiment at any given time. But I've never seen a field that's so much wrapped up in sentiment and not so much about fundamentals. And these 10,000 to 15,000 projects, many of them will not survive. They're like venture capital investments. They're not going to survive.
Well, Gary, he's always got that cutting edge theory there that is all crap. Because when you look at investment, the problem with the investment architecture that's out there today is they keep the little guy down. You have to be an accredited investor to be able to play into that. What this is simply doing, when you look at the crypto market, it is invading in on the ability to control capital. And that's the problem that really, when you think about it, the big investors have with controlling capital. That's why I think the ETFs are doing so well, is they are able to at least somewhat control what's happening in the Bitcoin space. And it's their first real chance at it. And you've seen such an amazing success. But thank goodness, in just a few days, we will see Mr. Gensler's last time to step into the SEC building and no longer affect the crypto market for sure. Taking a look at the markets real quick. Bitcoin, of course, trading right now at 92.9 after 3 days, soon to be a 3-day close on a red candle and down quite a bit here. What are we at? 2% on the day. Others to watch, of course, as you guys have been kind of cluing on, some of these are some pretty good buys. Right now, ETH down, what is that, almost 12% in 3 days. That's another one that might be a good buy. Are there some areas where you guys are looking? Let's take a look at Cardano. Cardano took a nice hit. Let's go from Cardano's position to where were they? Got almost 25% for Cardano in the last 3 days. So Near Protocol, everybody pretty much down, but some are holding a little bit more resilient than others. Let me know what you guys are moving on right now. If you are DCA in on certain projects, are you going after some of the memes and AI agents? Are you taking a look at some of the values in the top tier? What are you jumping into? Or are you? Or maybe are you just sitting back on this dip and waiting for another one? All right, you guys are not in the diamond circle, right? All you have to do is just click the link down below. It's very simple, very easy to do. And of course, follow me out there on X, @PaulBaron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.